Rise for the prayer, and then we'll do the pledge of allegiance. Councilman Hensley.
Lord, teach us to be generous. Teach us to serve our neighbors as they require, to give of ourselves and not to count the cost, to fight and not to heed the wounds, to toil and not to seek for rest, to labor and not to ask for reward, except to know that we are applying our best judgment and efforts to the betterment of our community. And we pray for our neighbors who work to secure and protect our public safety, who put themselves between danger and the rest of us day and night. We are grateful for them and for all that they do to keep us safe. And for all of the unspoken intentions of those assembled here tonight, we say amen.
Amen. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go ahead and call to order the meeting of the City Council.
Fowlers.
Here.
Deacon.
Here.
Hensley.
Present.
Lester.
Here.
Mealy.
Present.
Schwartz. Spencer.
Here.
Spicer.
Present.
Wiseman. Right.
Present.
Now before.
All right. We appreciate everybody that's joined with us tonight. We'll go to item 3, adoption of the agenda. So moved. Second. Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We don't have any miscellaneous items. Go to item 5, opportunity for public comment. We have 2 individuals signed up. Mr. Kelly, you want to go ahead and make your presentation? Just identify yourself again for those at home. And
I'm Jeff Kelly with Keeley Restoration, and I just want to be heard on the parking garage restoration project. I guess the thing that I want to get across is I think you guys went through the effort of hiring a good engineer who came up with good documents, drawings, specifications, so you had a fair bidding process where all the contractors understood what they needed to do. Our concern is that one contractor qualified work out, and I think it's common for contractors to qualify the unknown out. If you don't know about something, you may qualify that you're not going to do something that nobody knows about so that you protect that risk. But when you qualify a portion of the work out, it lowers the price. And that's what we think happened here, that the contractor took a portion of the work out, said he wasn't going to do it, made the bid low, and then if you guys go back in and say, okay, will you still take the work now, take the job now, even though you qualified those things out, will you do those things at that still lower price? And I think that's considered negotiating in my eyes, that if that person or company would have put those items in the bid, would they truly be low? We don't know that. So to me, it's like a simple scenario. You get 2 contractors to paint your house. You say paint all 4 elevations and the windows. You get the 2 bids in. One contractor says, I painted all 4 elevations and my price is $3,000, but I excluded the windows. I include painting 4 elevations in the windows and I'm $4,000. I'm $1,000 higher, but my scope of work is the same. Now I may qualify. I do not have any deteriorated wood. If I find deteriorated wood when I'm scraping the house, that is a qualification that you have to pay extra for. And to me, all contractors do that, but that was never in the scope of the work. You did not ask me to repair the wood, but I'm going to say I'm not going to repair the wood in my price. Now, if somebody says I'm not going to paint the trim, and you truly ask them to paint the trim, and they say, no, I'm not going to do that, and now they're low bidder, and you go back to them and say, okay, I'll give you the job for $3,000, but you have to put the windows in. To me, that's negotiating the price, and if I leave something out of my bid, it'll be lower too. But I think you don't want that, and you go through the process of hiring a good engineer to give you what you want and then have it priced accordingly. So I think you guys are trying to do the best you can to give the taxpayers what they want. I just think the contractor is excluding work, and it's a game that's played all the time, and then they come back and they get a change order. Now this time I think you guys did a nice job. Okay, you found that, and now the contractor's saying, okay, we'll do it for that price. I just don't think that's fair bidding practices. So yeah, we'd love to have an opportunity to sit down and just go over that in detail and get your guys' opinion and go from there.
All right. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you.
We've also got Mr. Nelsonado. And if you could just identify yourself, thanks for being with us.
My name is Nelson Otto. I live at 1010 Monroe Street in Jefferson City. Over the last few months, I've been seeing in the newspaper where they keep saying that you guys are violating the trust of the voters. And I'm a voter and a taxpayer, and I want to say I actually appreciate a lot of the stuff that you're doing. And it's just the opposite. When I heard that you guys were talking about moving funds from Department of Recreation and fixing different things, I was actually thrilled because like roads and some of the other things that we have in the city need repair more than we need another new park, another new greenway. Like Monroe Street needs repairs. There's a fallen retaining wall that it's been there for years and no one seems to fix it, and they never can seem to find the money for it. So if you guys can find the money and start fixing those things, those are things that I look at every day that I think need work. My other comment is on the new convention center. If we're going to do it, we need to do it right and make it big enough and large enough to support it. We need to look at the other areas around us and see what kind of convention centers they have, because we're going to be competing against them, and we need to have something that's different, unique, or large to bring people in. Because if we don't, then we're wasting our time and money, because eventually the other areas, well, people will go to that. And we need support around it for things that people will do when they're not at the convention, like in the evenings, dining, comedy, restaurants, or bars, different things, because they don't come here for just the view. They would come here for all the other amenities that come with it. So if you plan through the whole area, not just for one structure. So, thank you.
Thanks. Well, just to respond very quickly to you, the Monroe Street project from the expressway up through Dunklin is on the city-county priority list. So we're in the process of moving that forward. We had a little hiccup because of some changes at the federal government related to the light there at Dunklin. But that project is on go, that section of it. And then on the convention center, you probably saw on the agenda, there is an item that council will be looking at tonight to take the next step. Part of that next step is, if it's approved, to do a feasibility study on to see exactly what size the convention center / hotel needs to be and the parking garage. So I think it's very timely you brought that in front of council, and hopefully you can stay for the discussion, but that'll be part of the discussion, taking that next step. So we appreciate it. I know you respond periodically in the newspaper, and we thank you. I appreciate the fact that you're involved in the community.
Well, thank you. I tried to be, especially if events definitely will affect me in my future. Like the widening of Monroe Street, that was really something. The last time I was here, you guys could probably tell I was a nervous wreck. I had everything written down. I said it and got it through. And afterwards, people kept telling me, that's going to go through. You're either going to lose your house or you're going to do this. And they said, oh, I saw so-and-so walking through here. Oh, yeah, that's a political leader. You lost your house. Oh, this person's this special interest group. So you're done. You've lost. And I tell you what, when we saw in the newspaper that you guys had voted that down, we were like, yes, thank you.
That's an example of the process working. People engaged. Council took it serious. You had 2 council members that took it serious, and Public Works Committee really weighed the comments. So again, I appreciate people that are involved and engaged.
Well, thank you guys again.
Thanks. All right, I think that's all we had on the list. So it takes us to item 6, public hearings. We don't have any. Item 7 is appointments by the mayor. You have 3 in front of you. We'll need action if you want to push those forward. Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. No presentations from staff. Item 8. Item 9, announcements by mayor, council, and staff. Administration Committee.
No announcements at this time.
All right. Councilman Hensley, Finance.
Yeah, Finance Committee's monthly meeting that would have occurred this Thursday has been canceled.
All right. Public Safety, Councilman Slider.
Thursday, March 28th, 7:30, police training room.
And Public Works, Councilman Spencer.
Our next meeting will be April 11th, 7:30 here in the council chambers.
Any other items of interest to the public? All right, takes us to item 10, consent agenda. You have a number of items in front of you. All right, we got a motion and a second. Seeing no comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Item 11A, bills introduced 2023-089.
An ordinance of the city of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $70,300 agreement with Bar Engineering Company for the slope stabilization project.
Mr. Moran.
Thank you. As Clark indicated, contract with Bar Engineering. They've done a lot of work for the city in the past, but this will be a big stabilization project. It's where the recently built Rodeo Horse Arena property is there in the corner of 179 in Boonville. Our sewer main is getting exposed in that area along the creek, so we have to stabilize the bank, and this company would help us with that project.
All right, seeing no questions, 2023-090.
An ordinance of the city of Jefferson, Missouri, amending the fire department examination and selection procedures.
Chief Schofield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This bill would contemplate an update, what we consider to be somewhat of an improvement to our hiring process. And so we're separating out some of the elements that traditionally have been combined between our hiring of new firefighters and our promotional of incumbents to ranks of fire driver and fire captain. So for the most part, the promotion piece remains intact. Remains part of the city ordinance. What this would contemplate is moving some of the elements from the hiring more into policy, but specifically so that we can adjust with some of the changing environment when it comes to being very competitive for hiring of new firefighters. So we are somewhat limited by the current existing ordinance. We want to be more responsive. We want to make sure that when we have a highly qualified candidate, fast track them on into the process and to make sure that take full advantage of those candidates as they pass through the process quickly. We don't lose them to other organizations and agencies, which we have experienced over the last few years. So specifically what we're contemplating doing in that policy change is to use equivalency. So in the past, we've always done a written test, a very formal purchased third-party test. We would still offer that, but we would also potentially consider state certification for both EMT or state firefighter 1 and 2 that would be a gauge for that mental aptitude that we're looking for. Likewise, there's also a national standard for physical testing. So we've always done what we call a physical agility test for firefighters, where we go out and do functional capacities. We swing sledgehammers, we drag dummies, we hoist hose packs upstairs and all sorts of things, many elements, and that's been consistent over the last 10 years, 15, 20 years or so. And so we would also entertain, well, we would still maintain that as an opportunity for local folks who want to participate or anybody else who wants to participate. We would also utilize an equivalent of a nationally certified, what's called CPAT, which is a national standard for a passing score, as an equivalent for that. So that would allow people who might be out of town or might not be able to make the actual testing date to still be able to participate in our process. We also feel like there might be some opportunities to utilize some of the video interviewing, video software the city has, the Smart Hire system, to also initially screen some applicants as well, while we will still anticipate doing a full interview as we have in the past with a panel. All these things give us the ability to be a little more nimble and responsive in the ever-changing and challenging hiring environment. So I know that's a lot of information. I would also mention to those that are watching, that this did pass through both the Public Safety Committee as well as the Admin Committee. We felt like both those groups have a vested interest in this type of change. So happy to answer any questions that anybody might.
Questions? Councilman Spencer.
Yeah, I support this change. The big thing that we've had this discussion, share my comments publicly, is that to make sure that we're offering opportunities for our homegrown talent here inside the city. I mean, they're kind of sometimes at a disadvantage. If you live inside the city limits, you don't have the exposure to working on a volunteer fire department like people do out in the county, or run on a first responder squad out in the county. So I just want to make sure that we give some thought to that. And I know you share with that as well. So.
Absolutely, and I would totally agree with those comments. We would never reduce the number of opportunities that we currently provide locally in person. I think we're just looking to augment those with some additional remote options so that we have people that might be out of town or not able to make the dates that we have scheduled. We can give them another venue for which to be in the process included.
Okay. Any comments? Appreciate the work. Councilman Spicer and Councilwoman Wiseman coordinating, working with Chief. Be back in front of the council at the next meeting. All right, it takes us to bills pending. Item 12A, 2023-083.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Western Specialty Contractors in the amount of $337,985 for the parking garage rehabilitation project.
Now, I know there's potential action on this. I'm going to have Mr. Marash make his presentation. We'll take any comments or questions, and then Councilman Spencer. We'll open it up to you, Mr. Marash.
Yeah, thank you. As the clerk indicated, staff has bid a project to mainly rehab the Jefferson Street parking deck, which is located on Jefferson Street there close to the Jefferson building adjacent to it. And this contractor was the low bidder overall. We had apparently some confusion with another contractor, the second low bidder, but glad to talk to them if we want to put this on the informal calendar, talk to them some more.
Any other questions or comments? Councilman Mealy.
Thank you. If we're going to have a little bit of time for you all to discuss, which I absolutely support as well, I was wondering if we could get a breakdown here on price of what is going to Jefferson and what is going to Madison, so we can see just how much money is being put into a structure that we all know where it's headed.
Yes, and it's actually in there. We could highlight it, but it's item 113. It's the $10,000 item for the repair of the post-tension beam in the main garage. The rest of it would be the Jefferson Street deck. So it's a $10,000 item.
So just 10,000.
We talked about getting further clarification and talking about that further even before we do that.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, the spreadsheet here cuts off when you guys took a photo of this or whatever, so.
It's on page. Well, and you wouldn't know unless I probably told you, but you know the label.
Show.
Yes, sir.
So just $10,000 at Madison Street, and the rest of that amount is for the Jefferson parking structure?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Wright.
Along the same line, that $10,000 repair, is that a permanent repair? Is that a temporary repair? How would you characterize that $10,000 repair to the Madison Street garage?
Yeah, so if you were to drive up there, we have some spaces blocked off where there was a chunk missing in one of the beams, and our engineer is pretty concerned about it, so we wouldn't handle 3 different loads at one time, like a snow load, a live load, and a parking load, a dead load. So to repair that so we could remove those barriers, basically it's a smaller operation than we even thought. We wanted to bid it to make sure, see what it would cost, but basically just retensioning the beam. So does that answer your question?
Is there anything cheaper that could be done?
You could keep it blocked off, certainly, although our engineer did say he had some concerns about that.
and maybe some other things in the garage that he'd like to talk to us about if he thought this was going to take very long at all to, excuse me, remove the structure.
Right. That answers the question, thank you.
Councilman Spencer.
Yeah, I'd like to place this on the informal calendar until staff has the opportunity to talk in depth with Mr. Kelly on some of his concerns.
Okay. Takes us to item 2023-084.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $12,693,100 Phase 2 design-build agreement with Burns & McDonnell Engineering Company Incorporated for the biosolids improvements project.
I'd like to set it in the same direction, but Mr. Marash, you want to start us off?
Certainly, just real quickly, this is to rebuild our biosolids building and equipment over at the wastewater plant. The design build's been going on, phase 1, for almost a year now, I believe. And basically, we have contracted prices locked into this number with Burns & McDonnell, all the various trades, and for that building and equipment. And so, but before they would sign the agreement and us too, we want to make sure we have the financing in place. So we just received, which is the next bill, 85, we just received today via email that Missouri DNR is approving our SRF loan. And so then our bond council would take that approval and start plugging in the numbers and the various interest rates and things. And so they would be ready to go at the next meeting. So it would need to go on, these two would need, 84, 85 would need to go on the informal calendar for that, let that happen.
All right, we're dealing with 084 right now. Any questions, comments? Councilman Spencer.
Based on staff's recommendation, we'll place this on the informal calendar.
All right, then we'll go ahead and read 2023-085.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $14,285,100 principal amount of the Sewerage System Revenue Bonds, Series 2024 of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, for the purpose of improving the city's sewerage system, prescribing the form and details of the bonds, and the agreements made by the city to facilitate and protect their payment and prescribing other related matters.
Again, we'll use the same format. I think you talked a little bit about this, but Mr. Marash, anything else you need to bring council up to speed on?
No, this would just be the financing component of the project we discussed.
Okay, so you've got 085 in front of you, Councilman Spencer.
Based on the advice of city staff, I'll place this on the informal calendar, please.
All right. Takes us to 2023-087.
An ordinance approving a plan for an industrial development project for Unilever Manufacturing Incorporated, authorizing the City of Jefferson, Missouri to issue its taxable industrial development revenue bonds, Series 2024B, in a principal amount not to exceed $33 million, and its taxable industrial development revenue bonds, Series 2024B, in a principal amount not to exceed $50 million, to finance the cost of such project, authorizing and approving certain documents and authorizing certain other actions in connection with the issuance of the bonds.
Mr. Molman, and I know you have some guests with you as well.
Yeah, sure do. So this bill would approve sets of Chapter 100 industrial revenue development bonds. First one in the amount of $33 million of real property improvements at the Unilever site, portion of the Unilever site. And then another one for $50 million of personal property purchases. In terms of abatement, which is the point of these bills, is we would want 75% abatement of real property and personal property for a term of 10 years. There is a performance agreement that is a part of this bill. The performance agreement requires the company to maintain at least 441 jobs at the existing site for the term of the bonds. I do believe we have Mr. Whelan from Unilever here tonight. We have something for the council, and also representatives from JC Rep also available to answer any questions. So that's all I have. Be happy to answer any questions for myself.
Welcome. introduce yourself. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Evening, Council. Right, my name is Mike Millen. I'm the factory director at the Unilever facility here in Jefferson City. Right, so dealing with a little bit of a sore throat, so apologize. Been dealing with it for 2 weeks, right? So I'm sure you're all safe, right? But just want to talk about the liquid IV operation that we're bringing in, right? So for history, some of you know that the site's been here since 1966. Started up as Q-tip plant. Many of you may know it as Cheeseboro Ponds, right? Became Unilever. Shortly thereafter, started up as a Q-tip plant, converted at some point in the 90s to a toothpaste plant, and then in the late 90s, 2005, 2008 timeframe, one of the largest personal care liquid plants in Unilever globally, right? So we're one of the Cadillac sites that I say for the personal care liquid facility within Unilever. Part of our continuous journey of looking at the next evolution of business is really, we had the opportunity to look at liquid IV and bringing that operation to Jefferson City. The liquid IV, if you're not familiar with it, is probably is the #1 hydrated drink, powdered drink solution in the U.S. currently today. Its growth has been phenomenal. But again, it's part of the health and well-being group. We've been always personal care liquid plants here at the Jefferson City factory. The health and well-being is comprised of 7 fast-growing companies. So they're companies that we've acquired over the last several years, and Liquid IV is just one of those 7 fast-growing companies within our health and well-being side of the business. You know, it's fast-growing, it's lifestyle-led, and it's science-driven companies. They're comprised of Liquid IV, Nutrafol, Ollie Vitamins, Smarty, Pant Vitamins, Onnit, Equilibrium, and Welly. It's about a $1 billion business and continues to grow. It's delivered 15 consecutive quarters of volume-led double-digit growth. So it is a very fast-growing and doing very well from a business perspective for Unilever and its business itself. Liquid IV, the operation that we're bringing to Jefferson City, was acquired in 2020. It is the #1 powdered hydration brand in the U.S., as I mentioned, and it's the top 5 product purchased on Amazon Prime Day, right? Even kind of blew me away with that statistic when you think about Prime Day. And then we launched sugar-free in 2023, so again, from an innovation standpoint, continues to grow at a fast pace. As looking at this business, and again, its opportunities in here, I'll explain that in a minute, working with the community here for our opportunity to bring this business to Jeff City was fundamental and it was key. And I thank many people who have been part of this process to help us kind of take a look at this incentive option to, again, solidify this the Jefferson City site for this growth opportunity. So as a site, we continue to always look at growth opportunities, right? It talked about personal care liquids, right? Even in that space, right? A lot of small niche, I'll say premium brands continue to disrupt that business in that standpoint. So always looking at how you diversify your portfolio is key to a business, particularly in its sustainability and its future fit. This growth opportunity was very competitive. So we weren't the optimal site originally. When we take a look at our business dynamics behind that. Another region held the business, right? So from that standpoint, very good incentive packages were provided on a different location in a different area. The site had gone through many different evolutions, and what we did is looked at internal real estate in the site and built a competitive package to say, again, how do we become more competitive than another region? Part of that competitiveness was really what the community, and again, particularly JC Rep, and those that support us at a standpoint, along with the tax incentives that we were provided, made this a very competitive situation for us in the Jefferson City area. So again, this tax abatement was beneficial into moving this operation from another region within the U.S. Right here into Jefferson City. Again, this facility will be what we call a factory within a factory. So I know one of the questions was, hey, we're building kind of inside the facility, right? Building inside the facility, brick and mortar, tends to be a heck of a lot more expensive than taking a look at optimal real estate. So when I say a factory within a factory, we are building a box within the 4 walls. This will be a different operation. It will be hygienic. It'll be a different set of standards, quality parameters, et cetera, and a different business altogether. And again, this box mentality for us for this business, as I stated before, it's a factory in a factory, and it'll be its own new hygiene facility and operation within this factory. So hence why we're using real estate within the 4 walls. Again, we've had to do what I call move the furniture to kind of make this happen. So again, there's a lot of work behind the scenes and a lot of planning and strategy that kind of put this situation in play. And again, along with the tax incentive, made Jefferson City an optimal place to land liquid IV. This also allows us to pursue other future potential growth opportunities. As I mentioned before, amongst the 7 brands, right, they're fast-growing, 14 consecutive quarters of growth. We're the first Unilever facility to produce health and well-being here within the globe. It sets us up as a multi-category and technology manufacturer across liquids, health, and well-being. So 3 portfolios in that particular standpoint versus the personal care liquids that we have currently today. And we're the first Unilever site in the world to produce health and well-being products in a factory, right, within its own 4 walls. And again, this creates resiliency in our site's portfolio to support the site's strategic future fit, right? So this, again, builds resiliency and builds the opportunity to grow from that standpoint. We will begin construction as soon as Q2. That could happen as early as April or May of this year with some of the pre-work that we're doing in that standpoint. We will look throughout Q2, Q3 and the work that we're doing there. We expect our first lines of production to start. We will have a ramp-up process, which will bring a couple lines in at a time, ramp those up, qualify those before we bring in the next couple lines. So again, we expect this to start operationally sometime in the Q3 timeframe, extend into Q4, and then ultimately be done around Q1, Q2 of 2025. Right, so again, I thank you for the opportunity and the collaboration that you've all had with this particular project in mind. And again, really thankful for our teams, our site, and our business. So thank you.
Thanks. Any questions? Councilman Spencer.
You shared a statistic with us internally, and I just would like you to share with the community. Liquid IV has become one of the quickest billion-dollar companies.
Growing towards $1 billion.
Growing towards $1 billion.
Yes.
How long has Vaseline products been on the market? And they still haven't reached that plateau. Is that?
Oh, Vaseline's a $1 billion brand. Absolutely.
$1 billion brand.
Yes. Yes. It's my favorite product in the Unilever portfolio. 1,001 uses, right? So.
Yeah. On hinges too. So.
Yeah. We have several billion-dollar brands. Dove, right? Again, being one of the big brands that we produce here as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we're excited about having that opportunity, that technology here in Jefferson City, a whole different type of market for you all in Jefferson City, the capital city of the state. So we're real excited about it. Thank you very much.
Councilman Allers and Councilman Mealy.
I just want to thank you all for looking at and promoting Jeff City and wanting to be the hub for this. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to start promoting and to let everybody know it is from Jeff City. So thank you for the partnership and the trust in us to go along with you on this ride and what Unilever is becoming in their growing pace. So thank you all very much.
Yeah, and I appreciate JC Rep and everything you've done because, again, this was a 11th hour type decision. And, again, it was a lot of hard work done by a lot of people. So thank you.
I just had a couple of questions for you. You mentioned that Liquid IV is #1. Is that in sales?
It's the #1 powdered hydration brand in the U.S.
In sales.
Don't quote me on sales. I would say as far as growth, right? So as far as #1 and the criteria associated with it is growing. I wouldn't say that in a sales standpoint. I don't know that sales number.
So #1 in growth. I just want to know what the #1 was attributed to.
Yeah, I can't answer that question definitively. That's consumer feedback, right?
I guess. And so as far when you bring in Liquid IV, will you be losing any product that you currently produce?
So we have sold a piece of our business, Suave, right? So Suave portfolio has sold. Now, what that impact is to our site, right? I can't determine what that is. Small piece of our business, but again, where I talk about the future of business, you asked this really around headcount last time, right? And really over 10 years, right? The personal care liquid side of the business, like I said, is very disruptive currently right now. When you take a look at premium brands and kind of what they're doing, small niche businesses, now whether it's a cycle or it's an impact, again, the personal care liquid side of the business is something that, again, as we take a look at and why we've brought in Liquid IV, and we'll continue to look at other portfolios from the standpoint, is really around resiliency.
And then, with Liquid IV being a, I don't know, somewhat of a fad type product, or at least maybe it's a long-term fad product, will this assembly line or new development be set up in a way to work with other products? It's going to be food grade at this point.
It's 100% dedicated to Liquid IV, and that's the only operation. Again, this will be boxed in within the facility, right? So we're not like, I think you had mentioned last time, I may misspeak here, but I think you like refurbishing the inside for this operation. No, we are building an operation within an operation, so it will have its own four walls for a hygienically designed operation just for the powdered side of that business. Right, be totally separated from the personal care liquid side of the business.
So if that product fails, just the market crashes.
You could say that for any brand. What I can say is that the growth on this brand has been outstanding, right? Yep.
Thank you very much. Really, thank you enough for the investment in this community, and look forward to brighter days.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right, we have 2023-087 in front of you. We'll need a roll call vote.
Ballers.
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Mealy.
Aye.
Hill. Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Weisman. Wright.
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right. This is to 2023-08.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson creating a new section to the city code relating to administrative chargebacks.
Ms. Craig.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This bill would create a new section in the city code which would establish a policy regarding the administrative chargebacks. We discussed this during the FY24 budget process, that council was interested in establishing a process that was consistent across all funds. Specifically as it related to parks. They wanted parks to be treated in the same manner as other enterprise funds. So that is what this bill proposes. City Attorney Molman and I worked on the methodology for calculation, and essentially this would utilize the methodology that we've used for many years now, just bringing into line the fact that everyone would be charged in the same manner for any of the indirect expenses associated with the administration. That still would allow for some of the more direct expenses to be charged to the individual funds. For example, wastewater. We spoke this evening about adding another SRF bond, and they already have several bonds to begin with. So there's a lot of work that finance does through the course of the year and also during the year-end audit that relates to those bonds. So this methodology would still allow for us to charge the individual funds as it pertains to direct cost association. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? All right, got 2023-088 in front of you. So a roll call vote.
Deacon.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Mealy.
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Weisman. Wright.
Aye.
Ballers.
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right, next is to item 13, informal calendar 2023-081.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending Chapter 19, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Schedule G, Stop Intersection, by the removal of Monroe Street stop signs at Woodlawn Avenue.
Councilman Mealy, your intention with,
To leave that out.
we're going to stay on the informal. Okay. All right, takes us to resolutions 2023-51.
A resolution authorizing the city to execute a contract with Jefferson City Regional Economic Partnership.
Oh,
Thank you. This resolution would approve the annual contract with Jefferson City Regional Economic Partnership. The annual amount already provided in the city's budget, $185,000 for economic development services. I do note and apologize about a typo that is included in paragraph 4 of this document of the agreement. The written out number for term of payment is $120,000, but the numerical is $185,000. Staff will correct this as a Scrivener's error, so this resolution and agreement is ready for approval tonight, if that is the desire of the City Council. Once again, representatives of J.C. Rep are here tonight, so between myself and J.C. Rep should be happy to answer any questions.
Questions from council?
Move to approve. Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Hensley,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Mealy,
Aye.
Schwartz, Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer,
Aye.
Weisman, Wright,
Aye.
Allers,
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted.
All right, takes us to 2023-52.
A resolution authorizing the city to execute a pre-development service agreement with Garfield Public-Private.
Mr. Molman.
Thank you. This resolution is some follow-up to the city's previous resolution naming Garfield Public-Private as the city's lead development partner for the city's conference center, hotel, and garage project. This pre-development services agreement with Garfield would retain them to provide several activities to prepare for a decision on the conference center, hotel, and garage project. Most notably is a hotel market feasibility study, a parking study, some pre-engineering and architectural work to get accurate pricing, along with some pricing work with the contractor, the construction contractor, all with the aim of providing the city some accurate numbers, and then a preliminary financing plan on how to get this paid for. So we anticipate all these services to last likely through this year. So hopefully we will be getting something back to the city council at the end of 2024, maybe beginning of 2025. That's at least the preliminary plan. So we'd be happy to answer any questions, but I do note that the contract is not to exceed $512,000. That includes $342,000 in core services, and then an availability of $170,000 for some optional services that may be needed as we kind of go down the path to get the best information for the city to make its decisions. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I also note that, once again, J.C. Rep is here tonight to help answer any questions as well. So, that.
Questions or comments? We'll need an action to get it on the table.
I move to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Again, thanks to the admin committee for your work on this, and I know JC Rep and everybody that was involved. There was a lot of work in a very short period of time, so thank you very much. We will do a roll call vote on 2023-52.
Lester,
Aye.
Mealy,
Aye.
Schwartz, Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer,
Aye.
Weisman, Wright,
Aye.
Allers,
Aye.
Deacon,
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted.
All right. Nothing from council and staff, no new business, no unfinished business. Councilwoman Wise.
I move to adjourn.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.